everyone. Welcome back. Christian Shreves, bestboxingbets.com. I'm the author of Money Boxing, and we are talking about, well, this is called Rosy Around the Ring. This is the second installment. If you haven't gone through the first one yet, look at that one before you do this one. Okay, you guys, as we move along in the comparisons made in the Ring magazine in the June 2013 article, page 72, the next up is they talk about the puncher. Now, some of it they get right. You know, they say, well, you know, these are people who have a lot of firepower. They want not only to land a real hard punch, but they want to pursue that until they get the finish. And this to them is the puncher. And they list the number one as the great heavyweight champion. I think a lot of people are going back now and saying this was maybe the greatest of all time. Joe Louis, the Brown Bomber, 25 defenses of the heavyweight title in over a decade, 22 by knockout, considered by Ring magazine the number one puncher of all time. Only when the magazine starts saying, hey, look, these guys are they're real hard punchers, but they had some underrated technique, and they leave it there. I'm going to give you the underrated technique, because this is what you need to know. You don't need to know what you'll find everywhere else. You need to know what you won't. Here is the underrated technique. Joe Louis was not, in his base style, a puncher. Mike Tyson wasn't, in his base style, a puncher in his prime. These were aggressive, which is a tendency, not a style. They pressured. These were aggressive counterpunchers. When Joe Louis was an amateur boxer, and you can get more data on our site with this, look up the articles that go along with this, he had what's called the Brewster style from Detroit, which is jab, good movement in, good movement out, jab, jab, right hand. You know, you had to have that with the Brewster style, in and out. They moved that style into a more forced enclosure, and what they did is they said, look, you're a black fighter, you are going to have to win by knockout, period. What is it that Jack Blackburn, his trainer, said? Colored boys do not go to town winning decisions. What he meant by that is you have to take your, another great quote, make your right fist the referee. And so what did they do with him? They made him aggressive counterpuncher. And the saying about it is that Joe is not the kind of counterpuncher who waits. This is by Jack Blackburn. I could give you the exact quote, but I want to explain it as we go. He's not the kind of counterpuncher who waits. He attacks you and makes you punch him off in self-defense. He tries to beat you to that punch. Well, anybody who takes that kind of a chance is going to get hit. So if the other guy pulls the trigger faster than he does, he's going to get hit. So Joe gets hit. And if he couldn't take it, he wouldn't be where he is today. Now, this is Jack Blackburn who created this model. The peekaboo style, which was perfected by Customato, where you had guys like Jose Torres, great light heavyweight, prime Mike Tyson used it, Floyd Patterson used it. It's an aggressive counterpunching style. So the fans, they can say, yeah, he hits hard, therefore he is a puncher. That's good enough for them. But the technique they're talking about is what we're covering here. We're not going to misdiagnose it. We're not going to misdiagnose it. An aggressive counterpuncher will move forward. They may land hard, but what they're looking for is what we call, when I'm training fighters, we call it a forced response. You make them do something they have to respond to, and then you hit them with something else. This is of the essence, as they say. This is the higher level of skill. And so just because a fighter hits hard does not mean he is a puncher. And don't misdiagnose it when it comes to your wallet. You have to say, is he a first responder? Is he reaching out to tag the guy? Or is he a counterpuncher? Is he getting close and making the guy open up and then beating him to that punch? Or is he moving first and doing that? These are the separations that we talk about. These are what the touts in training I'm working with need to understand. And you need to understand it too. Because once you do, Your potential with this is almost limitless. Now, this is not a digression. We're going to go to the third style. They talk about a pressure fighter, somebody who closes the distance, and they list the people with that tendency as having their own style. These are people who close the distance. This was perhaps the most disappointing to me part of the article, because moving forward, that's a tendency. That's not a style. It's like if somebody says, well, I got on a bicycle and I went forward. It doesn't tell you what kind of bicycle you're riding. If you want to know what kind of a bicycle someone's riding and they say, well, I went forward on it, you'll just stare at them. And that's kind of what I felt like doing when I read this. You have true. Most real punchers, real bangers move forward. Most fighters move forward, but you need clear definitions. So I go to perhaps the best at it. There was a video series called You Can Learn to Box by Kenny Weldon. It's fantastic. You can find it on our Best Boxing Bets website. I mean, it really opens the style versus style element up. And these guys may be moving forward, but that's just a tendency. That's just a tendency. The truth is that you have the puncher. He's going to rock back. He's going to throw everything that he has. He's going to put all of it into his shots. This is a puncher. This is a puncher. And then you have the guy who's coming to beat you up with his medium-sized bat. He has some power. He has a lot of heart. They don't last too long generally with their careers. They make for the most exciting fights. You have to beat them down or out-heart them. And Weldon refers to them as the fighter. They're the blood and guts of the division, of every division, and the heart of the sport as far as I'm concerned. But they can be overpowered, they can be outmoved, but they're coming in. The puncher's coming in, but it doesn't mean he's a pressure fighter. The fighter's moving forward, but he may fire his best shots from a stride away. So pressure fighters are characteristic. If you're doing this for money, please don't get these things confused. Please don't get them confused. Once you do, you're off base. It's like learning the chords of a musical instrument incorrectly. So for a fan, they're fine. For a professional or developing pro, hopefully like you're becoming, don't make the same mistakes. Christian Shreve, I'll be back with the third and final installment of ringing Rosy around the ring to get this thing straightened out, debug this project for you so you can enjoy the article, you can enjoy the content, and you can understand that what they call the alchemy of boxing. That's what the article is called, the alchemy of styles, how they work together, how they flow, and how you can profit from them. Be back with you soon. I'm Christian Shreve, and I'm here to tell you about why I think you should own my new book, Money Boxing, which is on sale now. Money Boxing has something for everyone, whether or not you know anything about boxing. You're about to receive a backstage pass into a world of glamour, corruption, and intrigue. And you're going to learn about the system, which is the only thing the casinos have had to fear in a long time. You can own Money Boxing by clicking on the link below now. I think you'll like it.